This is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth. By now, I'm sure that all of you are already well aware of the fact that our phones are listening to us 24/7, and we're constantly being shown ads for things that we've talked about needing or wanting while around our phones. When I made the following video 7 years ago now, this idea was considered conspiracy theory, but now it's conspiracy fact. Alright, so as I was saying, I'm sure it comes as no surprise, especially to viewers of Press for Truth, that we are being tracked, traced, and databased on these devices, and they are listening to every single thing we do. If you haven't noticed this yet, just try picking a random item like a hammock or a saxophone or something that is just completely meaningless to you, and try saying around your phone things like, "Hey honey, I sure do wish I knew where we could purchase a hammock. Man, you know what I could use right about now? A nice relaxing hammock. I wonder where I could find one of those." You know, I got to admit, I really love hammocks. I'm always on the lookout for a deal. Look, I want a hammock, Rasta style, with room for two. So give this a try, and I guarantee you that within about 48 hours, you'll start seeing ads for a hammock or saxophone or whatever random item you chose. And hopefully that will give you an epiphany, an awakening moment where you'll realize that George Orwell's 1984 wasn't just a fictional novel, this is now becoming a reality. When I made that video 7 years ago, I was laughed at for being a conspiracy theorist, but now everybody knows that this is exactly what goes on. Well, get ready for the naysayers to laugh again, because now I'm saying that these devices have the ability to read our minds and interpret our thoughts in real time. A few days ago on X, I said, our phones are reading our minds. Years ago, we all started noticing that we were being shown ads for things that we talked about needing or wanting while around our phones. We were laughed at as being conspiracy theorists for pointing that out, but now it's known that that is what is happening. Well, now we are being shown ads for things that we've never said out loud and have only thought about. This is not conspiracy theory. In a few years from now, it will be a known fact. Remember this post and start doing something about it. So in this video, I'm going to prove to you that this is the case, and more importantly, we'll discuss the things that can be done about it now before it's too late. But just before we do, I would ask that you please visit this Give, Send, Go campaign to help save and protect Press for Truth. In case you didn't know, I started Press for Truth in 2006, and after 19 years of doing Press for Truth, this has led to many attacks, whether that be in real life, while being surrounded by mobs like Antifa, BLM, feminists, climate activists, or the LGBTQ community, or whether it be from institutions who shadow ban me, block me, or cancel me, simply because I go against the status quo and because I'm interested in pressing for truth. With your help, I can better protect myself with bodyguards while covering events, and also by building a team who can help me reach more people than ever before. So if you guys would like to help Press for Truth grow into something that can truly be a thorn in the side of the powers that ought not be, please consider making a contribution, because I simply can't do this work without you. Thank you to everyone who has already contributed so far. I'm hoping I can get a few more of you today to contribute to my efforts to bring you this information. Alright guys, I want to start this video today by showing you a couple of very recent articles that just came out, which really should be a cause for concern. The Pentagon has just awarded contracts to 4 artificial intelligence developers. The U.S. Department of Defense announced on July 14th that it has awarded contracts to 4 U.S.-based artificial intelligence developers to address national security challenges. And the wearables trap. How the government plans to monitor, score, and control you, where it talks about bodily autonomy and how the right to privacy and integrity over our own bodies is rapidly vanishing. Now, it's no major secret that some major tech companies like Elon Musk's Neuralink have been developing brain implant chips that can monitor and interpret brainwaves in order to help severely disabled people. Consider this old 2019 article titled "Real-Time Decoding of Question and Answer Speech Dialogue Using Human Cortical Activity." Even the National Library of Medicine was raising concerns about this, like in this 2020 article titled Brain Recording, Mind Reading, and Neurotechnology, Ethical Issues from Consumer Devices to Brain-Based Speech Decoding. Companies like Neuralink have been leading the charge, and I warned about that in videos like Neuralink's personality-altering tech implants first brain chip in humans. What could go wrong? Or neurosurveillance and personality-altering weapons is the next step in transhumanism. But those devices require invasive technology that requires surgery, something that not a lot of people are willing to do. But what happens when surgery and invasive devices are no longer necessary? That's where we start getting into portable, non-invasive, mind-reading AI turns thoughts into text. As it turns out, the University of Technology in Sydney has already developed a non-invasive system that can interpret and read brain thoughts and turn them into text. The article goes on to say, previous technology to translate brain signals to language has either required surgery to implant electrodes in the brain, such as Elon Musk's Neuralink, or scanning in an MRI machine, which is large, expensive, and difficult to use in daily life. These methods also struggle to transform brain signals into word-level segments without additional aids, such as eye tracking, which restrict the practical application of these systems. The new technology is able to be used either with or without eye tracking. Watch here, where they demonstrate how this non-invasive technology is already capable of reading and interpreting your thoughts.
Our Brain GPT research is about decoding information from the brain without invasive technology. This will redefine the technologies we see today. By connecting our multitask EEG encoder with large language models, our brain has struck a major breakthrough in decoding coherent and readable sentences from EEG signals. Our work has been accepted by the NIPS conference as the Spotlight paper in 2024.
Good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. I'll start with a cappuccino, please, with an extra shot of espresso.
To capture information directly from raw EEG waves, we designed an encoder to process waveform EEG signals. After training, this encoder allows more convenient decoding of EEG signals without the need for eye-tracking devices or pre-processing processes.
Yes, I'd like a bowl of chicken soup, please. Yes, a bowl of beef soup. The fairy tale was filled with magical adventures in a charming, enchanted forest. The fairy tale had lots of magic, journey, forest magic. It's solid and affecting and exactly as thought-provoking as it should be. It's believable, is what provoking as the sounds be. Too much of this well-acted but dangerously slow thriller feels like a preamble to a bigger, more complicated story, one that never materializes. Too much of movie-made film truly predictable is like able to a much more serious one that quitaizes. The movie's plot is almost entirely witless and inane, carrying every gag 2 or 3 times beyond its limit to sustain a laugh. The film is most is as oneless, the aim And no joke and or 3 times. Its point. Be the laugh. High quality film with twists. Good film, twists interesting. If you already like this sort of thing, this is that sort of thing all over again. If you know the movie of Thing, you is a kind of things all over again. Which juice do you like best? Liked juice what like best?
It wasn't perfect, but it's pretty close. And that technology is already a couple of years old. And they've already moved on from decoding brainwaves into text to decoding brainwaves to speech. This article from 2023 talks about semantic reconstruction of conscious language from non-invasive brain recordings, where they say, a brain-computer interface that decodes continuous language from non-invasive recordings would have many scientific and practical implications. Currently, however, non-invasive language decoders can only identify stimuli from among a small set of words or phrases. Here we introduce a non-invasive decoder that reconstructs continuous language from cortical semantic representations recorded using functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI. Now, did you know that the company Apple already has a patent on their AirPods that can read brainwave activity? Apple's revolutionary patent, AirPods for reading brainwaves. Apple has taken another visionary step by filing a groundbreaking patent for AirPods that can read your brainwaves. This innovative technology, which utilizes electroencephalography, or EEG, could fundamentally change the way you interact with your devices. Imagine if your headphones could read your mind and respond accordingly, from controlling music playback to monitoring your mental health. This vision could soon become a reality, opening up exciting possibilities for the future of the human-machine interface. So, what's behind this patent? The patent describes a technology in which special sensors are integrated into the AirPods that can measure the electrical activity of the brain, known as EEG. EEG is a non-invasive technology for measuring electrical activity in the brain using electrodes. These sensors are able to detect the subtle electrical signals generated by neuronal activity in the brain. The AirPods would transmit these signals wirelessly to a connected device, such as an iPhone or computer, where they can be analyzed and interpreted. By the way, did you know that according to Business Insider, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, the guy who created these Apple products, raised their kids with limited tech? And it should have been a red flag about our own smartphone use. And just the fact that this technology has already been developed years ago begs the question, what can they do today? And what are the ethical implications of this mind-reading technology? Remember that experiment that I suggested you try 7 years ago that would prove to you that our phones are listening to us and suggesting ads based on the things that we say around it? Well, now you can try another experiment, and I have no doubt you will be shocked by the results. While you're in the presence of your smartphone device, try thinking about something that you've never said out loud, that you've never Googled, or you haven't even looked at online. It could be an object that you've never had a desire to own, like a hammock or a saxophone, or perhaps a medical issue that you don't have and you've never looked up. When you start seeing ads and suggestions for things that you thought about, you'll know this is no conspiracy theory. And I'm willing to bet that in 7 or 8 years from now, you'll discover that a lot of people will just accept this as fact. And they'll say, yeah, that's definitely what's happening. And just like when 7 years ago, I suggested that our phones are listening to us for the purposes of surveillance and control and marketing, people just laughed it off as a conspiracy theory. No doubt that will happen with this video, where people will suggest that it's just advanced AI, which is capable of making predictions about what you're going to think about based on all the data that it has collected, making it appear as if the phone is reading your mind. I think those people will catch up and realize that reading your mind was and is what has been going on, and they'll wish they did something about it. So speaking of that, what can we do about it if we want to block and protect our minds from mind-reading technology for the purposes of mental privacy? Well, the simple answer is to get rid of your smartphone device altogether. Get more green time instead of screen time. Touch grass instead of glass. They can't monitor your thoughts if you don't have these devices in the first place. Now, I realize, however, that for many people, that's easier said than done, especially if you rely on them for work. So the next best thing you can do is to invest in a Faraday cage, like this one, or this one here. A couple of these that I got for myself and my wife that are capable of blocking out all electromagnetic frequencies, all Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. But if you are able, I think getting rid of it altogether is your best option, because if they're able to monitor your thoughts now, what's to stop them from being able to insert thoughts as well? Crazy times, to say the least. Let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comment section below. And let me know, have you already experienced this without having to do the experiment? Let me know your experiences in the comment section below. Once again, my friends, I want to remind you to check out that Give, Send, Go campaign. It's the top link in the description below. Thank you so much to everyone who has contributed already. I can't do this work without you. And that's all for today. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Please click that thumbs up button. Share this video with your friends and family who you think need to see it the most. And stay tuned, guys. I'm going to have more video reports coming soon, God willing. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.